How's it going, folks? Hope we're all keeping well. You're very welcome to today's Leaving Cert History lesson, where we're going to go through Leaving Cert History essay writing tips, how essays are marked at Leaving Cert higher level history level, and how you can maximize those marks in your exam. Okay, so first of all, just going to quickly go through how higher level essays are marked. Okay, and higher level essays are marked out of 100 marks, and that 100 marks is split into two categories. Okay, so you'll see the first top bit there, 60 marks go for content, which is also called the cumulative mark. Okay, now when I say content, what do I mean? Well, this content basically refers to historically accurate and relevant information. Okay, and this content can be significant facts, statements, topics, events, explaining a term, a concept, talking about key personalities, throwing in key dates as well, things like that. Okay, so for an example, explanation of a concept or a term, if you were to say anti-Semitism. Okay, make sure if you were talking about an essay about, say, Hitler's rise to power, and you're mentioning anti-Semitism, make sure you explain what that concept or that term is. Okay, so anti-Semitism, prejudice or hatred towards Jews. Okay, significant facts, statements, topics, events. Significant event in that topic could be, the Munich beer hall putsch. Okay, where Hitler and the Nazis tried to forcibly seize power and cause a revolution to overthrow the Weimar government. Okay, so that would be a key event, a historically significant event. Okay, so it's your historical content, your accurate historical content, dates, key figures, facts, concepts, events, statements, terms. Okay, all these things. Okay, and they're worth the kind of main meat in your essay. 60 marks. Okay, so it's really important we have a good grasp of those things as we're revising. Okay, your second section, or second kind of section in the essay and how it's marked, is for your overall evaluation. Okay, and this is, guys, basically your ability to argue something, to interpret something, to analyze something. Okay, this is you're using your historical skill set here. Okay, so how well you argue a case and reach conclusions, how well you can provide evidence to back up your argument, and how you can analyze the issues in the question asked. Okay, so an example of this could be how well you provide evidence to back up your argument. Okay, like if you make a statement, guys, or you make an argument or an arguing statement, you must back it up with some historical evidence. Okay, so for example, a bit of a controversial one here, but if you said, I believe Eamon de Valera was a big cause for the Irish Civil War. Okay, why is this the case? Well, you could say, for example, when the Dáil democratically voted in favour of the Anglo-Irish Treaty, Eamon de Valera denounced it, got up and walked out, and his followers walked with him, and this caused a split, which eventually led to the Civil War. Okay, so that would be backing up that statement. You've just backed up the statement about why you think Dev caused the Civil War. Okay, and that's fine, that's perfect. Okay, like you could say something that's a bit controversial, but once you can back it up, guys, that's all you're looking for. Okay, bottom line there, analyze the issues in the question asked. Okay, so I suppose, guys, it's really important to not just recount and recap events. If you're asked to analyze, interpret, to evaluate something, make sure you're doing that as you go. You're not just simply recounting the events or, providing like a timeline for the historical events being asked. Okay, analyze, interpret, critique, criticize, argue, all these things. Okay, so your historical skill set, your ability to analyze, give opinion, etc., is really, really important when it comes to the overall evaluation. Okay, so folks, we're now going to look at just a few simple tips to help you maximize marks in your history essays. Okay, so some of these are going to be, very simple, straightforward, and you're probably sick of hearing these from, you'll have heard some of these tips from teachers of all subjects, and some of these could be very new to you and are very specific to Leaving Cert high level history. Okay, so first tip: practice writing essays as much as possible. Okay, 60% of the grade at high level goes directly on essay writing. Okay, and that's a really boring, simple one, but it's probably the most important. Okay, practice makes perfect. These essays, they're not easy to write. Okay, you're talking 8 to 10 paragraphs. You're talking about 4 pages, okay? And you have to be able to link each paragraph together, link it back to the question. So to develop the skill of doing this, the only way you can do this is by practicing writing them as much as possible, okay? Tip number 2: practice writing essays under exam conditions, okay? So basically, give yourself a time limit of 40 minutes per essay, okay? And what this would mean is your essays, again, guys, you're talking 8 to 10 paragraphs, 4 pages, and being able to link the paragraphs together, refer back to the question, like this has to be done within a certain time limit. It's all well and good being able to do that for an essay, but doing it in about 2 hours. But in your exam, you need to be able to do all those things within 40 minutes. Okay, so you need to be good at timing yourself. So that's maybe no more than 10 minutes per A4 page. Okay, really, really important. Okay. Tip 3: when revising a topic, sketch out essay plans for possible questions that come up as you revise. That's a really, really helpful and important one, guys. Okay, so for example, if you're revising, Hitler's rise to power. Okay, if you're revising that, just looking at your notes or your history book, in the margin of your book, sketch out a basic essay plan. So, for example, like a simple spider diagram, the Nazis rise to power, and then you've got, different legs coming out of that, and in each bubble, what were like a little timeline, what are the key events that led to Hitler coming to power? Okay, really, really simple, guys, but a really, really clever one. Okay, so as you revise a topic, a real basic exam question in your head, come up with one and do out a little essay plan or spider diagram for that. Okay, and again, this will really, really help you when it comes into the exam. Okay, because you'll already have that essay plan or spider diagram, whatever it may be, already in your head. Okay. Tip 4: when writing essays, very, very important to answer the question being asked. Okay, so many students lose marks by not focusing on the wording or misinterpreting the question. Okay, so what this means, guys, is there's certain historical, I suppose, key terms, concepts that are asked in questions, okay? And some students just simply don't understand what these mean, and they lose out marks as a result, okay? So look to the right-hand side of the slide here, guys. I've put up some examples of what these historical terms and statements might be, okay? So, for example, you could be asked to trace the development of something. Okay, what does this mean? To follow the course or trail of developments in something and how it developed and what made it develop, okay? So, that's probably a straightforward one there. Next one: to what extent was Hitler to blame? Okay, so what does that mean? To what extent was somebody to be blamed or put at fault for something? Okay, so on that one, you're looking to argue, okay, I think he was to blame, or I think he wasn't. If you're looking to argue he was to blame, you're putting in the certain things that he did, that blamed him, say, for the outbreak of World War II. Okay, and you're making sure you're arguing those points and you're backing them up with relevant historical fact. Okay, and then finally, evaluate the performance of. Okay, so that means make a judgment resulting from your analysis, basically judging how good or bad somebody was at something. Very, very straightforward. Okay, so you're evaluating the performance, how good or bad somebody was at doing something, whether it be as their time in power, or their time during a war, or their time during a political event. Okay, very, very straightforward, guys, but just having a good understanding of the historical concepts and the wording of questions on the higher level history paper will go a long way towards you maximizing your marks. Okay. Tip number 5: don't just write all you know on the topic. Okay, so again, guys, we already mentioned this in the very first slide. Don't just give it a timeline of events on a topic. Okay, if you're asked to discuss or evaluate, make sure you do it in every single paragraph. Okay, so if you're asked to discuss something and evaluate it, you're evaluating how good or bad it was. Okay, you're making a judgment, things like that. Okay, so use your opinion. Use your opinion to judge and determine something. Okay. And it's that's very important, guys, because some people get caught in the trap of just thinking, okay, I know loads about that topic, I'm just going to write all that. Okay, yeah, very good. If you did that, you would do very well. So if you just write all you know on a topic, you would do very well for the 60 marks, the cumulative mark, but you would not do well in the mark for your overall evaluation. Okay, so for how well you argued a case and argued your opinion. Okay. Tip 6: a simple enough one: be aware of date parameters. Okay, so you're not going to get many marks for going outside the date parameters given. So if you're given dates to talk about something between 1905 and 1920, try and stick to it in those date parameters inside those dates. Okay, if you start talking about something that happened in 1925, you're not gonna get many marks for that. Okay, something even if it's something that's relevant, yeah, possibly, but again, if the question is specific and says talk about the performance of the Nazi government between 1933 and 1945, you're not going to get marks for talking about it, how well they did, in 1920. So stick to the date parameters. Okay. Again, tip 7, probably one you've heard so many times from so many different teachers across different subjects, but plan your essays using a spider diagram. Okay. This will help you generate ideas while also making you less likely to leave out important information. So as soon as I sit down to do my high-level history exam paper, guys, I would do my spider diagram for my essays. Okay, and why? Because again, generate ideas, but also it'll help me. Like if I had, for example, crammed the morning of the exam or the night before, okay, that information is very new in my head and I could potentially forget that. Okay, like exam, high level history exam is quite long, so if I literally crammed it hour before I've sat into the exam hall, that information is in my head, but it's only in it for a short while, so I should write that down into my spider diagram very, very quickly, again, so I don't lose it I don't forget that over the course of the exam paper. Okay. Tip 8. High-level students should write about 8 paragraphs, about 8 to 10, guys, to be honest. Okay, this should have a short introduction and briefly make some, points on what the essay is about, and some, briefly explain what point you're going to make later. And then in each paragraph, guys, should have, each paragraph should be doing something. It should be developing a point. Okay, so you shouldn't have a paragraph there that's just waffle. Okay, don't think you have to put in 8 paragraphs. Okay, if you can only give 7 good paragraphs, that's fine. Okay, but each paragraph should be doing something. Each paragraph should have its own job. It should be arguing and developing a point. It should be referring back to the question. Okay, it should be doing something. Okay, and then you should have a short conclusion. Okay, and again, that's really simple and straightforward, but that's that is just a basic structure. Okay, because the more structure you have, the easier it is, the clearer it is for the examiner, the easier it is to link the paragraphs together, and the easier it is for you as well at the end of it. Okay, and very important one here, guys, for tip 9. Okay, in history, each paragraph in your answer should include at least one key link sentence that references the question. Okay, and this shows the examiner that you're actually answering, again, the specific question and not just rewriting an essay you learned off. Okay, now that doesn't simply mean in each paragraph you rewrite the question. No, but what you should do is link back to certain keywords within the question in every paragraph. Okay, an example here to the right of the slide, very, very simple, guys. For example, our question: why did the decision to locate Northern Ireland's second university in Coleraine prove controversial? Okay, and I've got examples of how you would link back to that question using key link words in each paragraph. So, for example, paragraph 1: no members of the committee were Catholic, which proved controversial. Okay, again, you're linking back to them key link words in the question. Okay, paragraph 2: when Derry lost out, there was widespread dismay. The controversy resulted in the setup, of the Derry University Committee. Okay, again, guys, I'm not simply just rewriting the question, but I'm using key link words to link back to it. Okay. Paragraph 3: the real dismay or controversy was that O'Neill accepted Lockwood's recommendation. Okay, again, I used a synonym there. I didn't, I didn't have to use the word controversial or controversy. I could use a different word, but again, I'm linking back to it using key link words. Okay, again, guys, key thing here: don't just rewrite the question. Okay, but use the key link words within that question. So controversy, Coleraine, university, them kind of things. Okay. Final tip, tip 10. Again, very, very straightforward. It's just going with the format. Okay, don't use long paragraphs. Okay, if you put in 5 long paragraphs, okay, you're not going to do as well as if you broke that down into smaller paragraphs and wrote 8 or 10 paragraphs. Okay, so 8 standard paragraphs or 10 standard paragraphs in standard length will get you more marks than 5 long paragraphs with the same information. Why? Because it's just much more clear. It's much more clearer if you're linking each paragraph together properly. It's very, very, in particular, guys, when it comes to your overall cumulative mark, that's very important. Okay, how well you answered the question, and if it's structured well, you've got 8 to 10 paragraphs. your overall argument comes through a lot clearer. Okay, folks, thanks very much for watching. Any questions written on how to answer higher level history essays, please don't be afraid to drop me a message. Thank you for watching.